Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a complete paradigm shift in how we understand urban movement and infrastructure. For decades, we've basically treated traffic like the weather, just this unpredictable force of nature that we simply have to suffer through. But what if I told you that the gridlock you face every single morning isn't actually inevitable? What if it's really just a massive, completely solvable computational failure? Get ready, because we are completely rethinking the way our cities move. 63. That is the average number of hours an American spends just sitting in traffic every single year. Let that sink in for a second. We are talking about almost 8 full workdays entirely lost just staring at the bumper of the car in front of you. And in some of the largest metros, you're looking at daily congested hours on freeways stretching over 3 hours, with the worst cities easily exceeding 6 to 7 hours of congestion daily. It is just a staggering drain on our time.
But wait, time isn't the only thing we're losing here. This translates to a massive financial penalty. National congestion costs have surged to a mind-blowing $269 billion annually. On top of that, we've seen a 19% spike in truck congestion since 2019, which, as you can imagine, severely stresses our supply chains and delivery networks. The sheer scale of this crisis is exactly why we need a fundamentally new approach to urban flow.
So it really begs the ultimate question. Why are we still stuck in traffic? Most of us just default to the easiest assumption, right? That there are simply too many cars on the road. But as we dig into the source material, a very different picture emerges. It turns out capacity isn't actually the primary enemy. The way we coordinate that capacity is. Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, the invisible cause, why modern intersections fail.
Our cities are basically running on completely outdated software. First off, a lot of them rely on legacy fixed-time signal plans that were designed decades ago. Second, each intersection is treated like an isolated island, optimized entirely on its own rather than as part of a connected network. Third, the models themselves have drifted. With the rise of hybrid work and e-commerce, the historical travel patterns those traffic models were calibrated on, they simply don't exist anymore. And finally, we're relying on human-patched heuristics. We have engineers manually tweaking offsets and cycles in response to yesterday's problems. It's reactive, it's slow, and it's totally unsuited for a dynamic, modern city.
This brings us to a really stark contrast between legacy control and what we actually need, which is global orchestration. Legacy control is chaotic, it's patched locally, and crucially, it collapses entirely under a heavy load. When a bad storm hits or a big event lets out, the system behaves unpredictably. But global orchestration relies on predictable compute and deterministic scaling. That means the system behaves reliably, no matter how complex the demand actually gets.
So here is the huge aha moment. Traffic is not just too many cars. It is a coordination failure. It's a system that simply cannot maintain stable behavior under a heavy load. Your frustration on your morning commute is absolutely valid, but it's not a law of physics. It is a solvable computational error.
Section 2, the paradigm shift, the stability-first substrate.
Now, a stability-first computational substrate might sound a bit like academic jargon, but it's not just some new gadget. It is a permanent, foundational compute layer. Its entire purpose is to ensure predictable, zero-drift coordination across a whole city. It's about creating a control regime where the behavior of the system doesn't change or degrade unpredictably, no matter how heavy the traffic load gets. This technology basically rests on 4 pillars, known as the stability stack. First up, predictable compute. This ensures temporal invariance, meaning the same inputs always produce the same outputs, so green waves actually stay green. Second, deterministic scaling. You can add thousands of intersections to the system, and it won't collapse under the complexity. You get true citywide optimization. Third, real-time sensing. By ingesting data from cameras, connected vehicles, and fleets, the system gains perfect situational awareness, literally seeing congestion before it even forms. And finally, zero-drift optimization. Instead of having to retune the system every few years because the old models drifted, this substrate offers consistent, repeatable performance year after year. The brilliant takeaway here? When the city is at its absolute busiest, the control logic is actually at its most stable.
Moving right along to Section 3, the deterministic city, orchestration under pressure.
Picture this, a massive stadium emptying out after a huge concert. Thousands of cars hit the road at the exact same moment. Under a legacy system, those fixed plans instantly result in gridlock. But let's look at how a stability-first substrate handles it. Step 1, it detects the vehicle surge in real time. Step 2, it instantly reconfigures signal plans across a wide radius, not just at one isolated intersection. Step 3, it prioritizes key flow corridors to clear the area fast without spilling back into surrounding neighborhoods. And Step 4, it does all of this while maintaining totally deterministic behavior. No emergent chaos whatsoever. It actively absorbs the surge.
And finally, Section 4, Reclaiming Time, the Human and Economic Impact.
Think about the difference this makes in your actual daily life. Under a legacy system, a supposed 20-minute commute stretches to 35 minutes, with huge, stressful variance depending on the day. But under deterministic control, that same exact trip drops to 24 minutes with extremely low variance. The green waves are aligned, the cross-traffic is balanced, and suddenly you can actually predict exactly when you're going to get to work.
Now, if we zoom out to the macroeconomic level, the numbers are wild. If we can achieve even a 20 to 30% reduction in delay across the board, the recovered value is massive. We're talking about injecting up to $80 billion back into the U.S. economy. We massively stabilize those sensitive freight supply chains we mentioned earlier, transforming lost productivity into actual tangible economic momentum.
But beyond the dollars and cents, the holistic benefits here are absolutely incredible. We're talking about recovering roughly 19 hours per driver every single year. And think about the environment too. Smoother flow means fewer stop-and-go cycles, which drastically cuts particulate pollution right near the intersections. Less idling means lower overall emissions. And from a pure mental health standpoint, more predictable travel significantly lowers your daily driver stress and that road rage that comes from feeling completely trapped in a broken system.
For our entire lives, we've treated traffic as just an unavoidable annoyance. But actually, scratch that. It's really just a symptom of unstable systems. When you build a city on predictable compute and deterministic coordination, traffic stops being chaos and becomes something you can shape. It's a true civilization-scale upgrade. So the next time you're stuck out on the road, ask yourself, why are we settling for a fragile patchwork of failing intersections when a perfectly orchestrated, deterministic city is completely within our reach? Thanks for joining me on this explainer. I'll catch you in the next one.